Now let's go over. Ralph is on the line now, and he doesn't really need an introduction unless you're very young. Without a second, Ralph Nader is one of the most influential Americans during the past 50 years. He is directly responsible for many of our most important bills that have provided protection to consumers against the onslaughts of corporate short-term profits and the Friedmanite free market, unregulated capitalism that we have now. He also gave us our Freedom of Information Act, the Clean Water Act, the Clean Air and Energy Act, the Whistleblower Protection Act, the Wholesome Food Act, and over 140 others. Graduated from Princeton and Harvard universities, and of course, I voted for Ralph each time he ran, but we were only a small group of progressives who did so. But the good news is Ralph has the Ralph Nader Radio Hour every Thursday at 2 p.m. on the Progressive Radio Network. His website is nader.org or csrl.org. Nice to have you with us again, Ralph.
Thank you very much, Gary.
My foremost question is whether or not Congress and the American public are taking Trump too lightly. Are we falling into the same trap as with Bush's first term when Americans realized they had elected I'm sorry, but my words only, idiot, but then consoled themselves into saying, well, it's only for 4 years. In the meantime, the enormous damage that has been caused during Trump's 4 years is only casually being realized. And I believe there is a strong possibility he will again, if Democrats don't get their act together and stop cannibalizing each other and actually do something that represents an improvement in the quality of our life and nature, whatever you choose. There are 100 things they could do, and they haven't done anything that I can see that would be why we should reelect them. So what are we to do at this moment? The forum is yours.
Well, first, not to be defeatist like a lot of the Democrats are. He's the most vulnerable president we've ever had, the most impeachable president, and he has violated all kinds of laws, enriched himself and his family. He's taught the young people in America you can lie by the hour and on serious matters and get away with it. He's a relentless, savage sexual predator, a bigot, a racist, and he follows up with action, not just words. And he's a warmonger. He thinks he's king, and he likes it. He praises dictatorships around the world, and he says, oh, if we only had that kind of power. And last year, as you recall, he made the statement with Article 2, I can do whatever I want as president. I mean, that right there is an unconstitutional, impeachable pattern of behavior. And he wasn't just talking and joking. He's actually trying to do it, interfering with the prosecutors and the Justice Department situation that's in the headlines today. But as far as the kitchen table issues out there, Gary, I mean, he hasn't just deregulated. He has shredded, dismantled, and disabled the federal agencies whose mission from Congress is to save lives, prevent injuries, and prevent diseases, and advance nutrition. I mean, he is now polluting the school lunch program with junk food when it was starting to turn around and improve the health of kids. He wants to take away food stamps from hundreds of thousands of people. He wants to push a further tax cut for the wealthy, which includes for himself. Imagine, he's actually pushing for a tax cut that will save him and his family millions of dollars a year. How about that for a conflict of greedy interest? And it's all the money he puts into the bloated military budget beyond what the generals asked for. They don't know how to spend it. And he takes it away from rebuilding the schools, the public transit, bridges, highways, drinking water, sewage systems of America, which would create a lot of good jobs and can't be exported. And that's only for starters. So he should be easily defeated. I mean, when the Democrats say, well, who among our candidates has electability, that's a totally defeatist attitude. Anybody who the Democrats nominate should beat this criminal warlord in the White House who's drunk with his own power. He has shut down the one agency that regulates Wall Street and your credit card company and your bank and your insurance company and your home mortgage, and he boasts about it. the thing about Trump is he doesn't hide anything, so he gives us the evidence. All we have to do is quote him, like we have in this new book Mark Green and I just put out called Fake President. It's a book not just to be read, but to be used by voters, by precinct organizers, by get out to vote people, and by people who want to have a powerful conversation with Trump voters all over the country. It's full of facts, broken down very, very easily for conversational purposes, and I've written an epilogue addressed to the Trump voter. I don't give up on any voters, Gary.
Good for you. In my personal opinion, the Democrats are suffering from cognitive dissonance, and that, in part, is their inability to acknowledge their own party, the Clintons and Obama administration's role in creating the economic and social conditions that brought Trump into office.
Yes, indeed.
And would you address that? Because unless the Democrats own up to this, at least acknowledge that what they didn't do for the American public, the unionists, I've spoken with hundreds of union members who their whole life were card-carrying Democrats and voted for the Democrats, who voted for Trump because they said we were tired of being lied to and used with platitudes, nice speeches, and nothing happened to help us. Your thoughts, please.
Yeah, of course. Well, I've written a book on this called On the Ramparts, How Bush and Obama Gave Us Trump. I could have added how Clinton, Bush, and Obama gave us Trump. Yeah, they ignored working families. They refused to step up and really increase the minimum wage, as Obama promised in his 2008 campaign, and they controlled Congress completely in 2009, 2010, as well as the White House. Yeah, they were more than indifferent. They were almost contemptuous as they raised more and more money from Wall Street than even the Republicans did. And they allowed big business to deindustrialize America in towns all over the country, from Akron to Flint to everywhere, emptying out factories, sending them to communist fascist dictatorships abroad who know how to put workers in their place, a buck an hour and no unions. And they called it free trade. It was really great. Yeah, those shoes came back from China. They were built with serf labor. Did they reduce the price of those Nike shoes? Did they reduce the price? No. The corporate bosses kept the excess profits. And the Democrats wanted to do more with the Trans-Pacific trade agreement deal. It would have given us more NAFTA-type situations. No, they were completely surrendered even the standards of Franklin Delano Roosevelt. They turned their back. They talked good about consumer environmental protection, but they didn't do that much. Of course, compared to Trump, they look pretty good today. But they brought us Trump. Hillary gave us Trump. Let's face that. It's really amazing how, Gary, when a third-party candidate gets a few votes, they blame the third-party candidate for any difference. But I don't hear any Democrats saying, hey, Hillary, you not only destroyed Libya and Mali with an illegal, brutal war that even Secretary of Defense Gates opposed you on, but he lost the battle because you went to Obama and convinced him. You gave us Donald Trump. I know she'll say she won the popular vote by 3 million, and she did, but they haven't opposed and neutralized the Electoral College. There's a movement which you know about, nationalpopularvote.com, where half the states already of the Electoral College, 270 needed, have passed laws saying anyone who wins the popular vote for president, we will send them our electoral votes. And that includes New York, that includes California has passed a law, Illinois has passed a law, Connecticut has passed a law. So they're halfway there. They're about 100, a little more than halfway. There are about 192 electoral vote states. And once they get to 270, they neutralize it. But the Democratic Party didn't support this. This is a citizen movement out of San Francisco with Steve Silverstein. And he has 6 people going around the country lobbying state legislatures. The Democrats are so stupid and incompetent that they lost 2 presidential elections in 2000 and 2016 when they won the popular vote. Gore won the popular vote. Clinton won the popular vote in 2016. And they still won't put at the top of their list that they want to support nationalpopularvote.com. So, you can't begin to end with the reckless stupidity of the Democratic Party. Imagine ignoring the red states, Gary. We don't want to campaign in the red states. So every 4 years, the red states get redder because the Democrats who try to run in those states, Texas, Alabama, etc., have no backing from the national party. And they just abandon half the country. They've made so many disastrous mistakes because they are dialing for the same commercial big corporate dollars that the Republicans have been dialing. And on military and foreign policy, as you know, they're almost identical. On Wall Street, they talk a different tune, but they're identical. Barack Obama raised more money from Wall Street than John McCain. He raised more money from Wall Street than Mitt Romney. And it's very corrupting.
Final question, because I know you're on a short schedule today. The Democrats are going after Bernie Sanders. The entire media is attacking Bernie Sanders or ignoring him. And what will be the likely outcome in your perception at this moment going forward if they try to undermine Bernie Sanders again and succeed as they did the last election cycle?
Good question. Bernie Sanders is incorruptible. His agenda is nothing more than what has been established in Western Europe and much of Canada. It's social democratic and FDR New Deal type. He is the front runner. He doesn't take money from fat cats. He takes money from millions of people. The average contribution is $18. You couldn't have a cleaner candidate. You couldn't have a more honest record. He was elected by Republican Vermont years ago. Now they reelect him in a landslide, and the Republicans are going to try to smear him with being a socialist or a communist. Well, what he should say is, listen, Trump, you're a corporate socialist. You bail out Wall Street. You've turned USA government over to big business. You're enriching yourself. You believe in corporate welfare, handouts, giveaways. You're a corporate socialist. And the difference is with corporate socialists, in other words, turning the government over to Wall Street, you can't diselect the bank bosses. But if the Democratic socialists come in, you can always throw them out if you don't like them. And here's the argument I would use, Gary, which Bernie should use when he's accused of that. Say, well, look, give me a half a minute. A lot of people like Social Security. They like Medicare. They like Medicaid. They like public drinking water systems instead of being owned by global conglomerates. They like the fire department instead of being owned by the insurance company. It can deny you when your house is on fire because you haven't paid the premium. They like the police department. They like the Tennessee Valley Authority and redneck country in Alabama and Tennessee. They like the Veterans Administration that has helped so many veterans over the decades. There must be a lot of people who like Democratic Socialists. See, they like the post office, which is there. It's not looking for a profit all over rural America. It's a central headquarters for people to come and get together. There's hundreds of examples, over 1,000 public utilities owned by municipalities. And then you say, public libraries, even public radio and PBS originally were created by the government. And you say, I guess there's a lot of Democratic socialists around here, and they might call themselves Democrats, Republicans, or conservative or liberals. That's going to be the big debate. Now, if they crush Bernie Sanders, Gary, then you're going to have a lot of Bernie Sanders voters stay home. And if they stay home, that elects Trump. Trump should lose in a landslide. I mean, he has so many corrupt invitations for the Democrats to go after him. He should lose just on being a savage sexual predator, which he boasts about. And he continues to say lies. All these women under oath who swore the truth and sued him in court. And these cases are all still pending. He doesn't want to release his tax returns. That would show his connections with foreign interests and possibly tax evasion and laundering money. But by June, the Supreme Court has to decide the case before they go for the summer recess. So please get fake president. And if you want to empower yourself over your senators and representatives, as we said on our earlier program, Gary, How the Rats Reformed Congress is a real handbook. I mean, it is a fable. It's trying to make you laugh seriously into organizing, summoning your senators and representatives to your own town meetings, your own agenda, completely reversing the dynamic between you and your members of Congress and taking back Congress for the people.
Good for you.
And
The book is
Gary, they can get this book by going to ratsreformcongress.org. People are ordering 5 at a time at a discount. They want to have living room discussions. They want to count. They want to matter. They don't want to be told, hey, just listen to these foolish 30-second or 15-second television ads that try to provoke your emotion instead of increase your factual content. Shut up and shop and just trundle to the votes and vote for whoever might have manipulated you the most or given you the narrowest choice. So ratsreformcongress.org. I'll autograph them for you as well.
Thanks a lot, Ralph. And Ralph's other book is Fake President, Decoding Trump's Gaslighting, Corruption, and General BS. And it's always a pleasure to have you on. Ralph Nader.
Thank you very much. Thank you, your listeners and your active audience, Gary.
Okay. We're going to take a break and come right back, and then I won't be able to do all of it, but I'm going to get started, and we'll post the article. It's a part of our series, ongoing series, of challenging the legitimacy of what we consider an illegitimate faux encyclopedia that is there more to engage in ideological, political, economic nonsense. You'll understand more when I'm sharing the information in a moment. Please stay with us.